Welcome, loyal viewers, and thank you for joining Drive, Ride, Eat, Drink. Today's episode is going to be another in the series of gear reviews that I've been doing for some of the things that I purchased for my big motorcycle trip this past November. Today's episode is going to touch on the FirstGear Navigator Gloves and the Revit Helium Undergloves. So thanks for joining, and stay tuned for my thoughts on these two items. Here are some quick specs on the FirstGear Navigator Gloves. As of the time I did this video, they were $69.95 at Revzilla. They're a full gauntlet style glove. They're textile and leather with touchscreen fingertips on the thumb and index. Otherwise, well, they're gloves, so they don't have a whole lot of techie specs. Up next are the FirstGear Navigator Gloves. So it's a pretty inexpensive glove. They're vinyl and textile. You can see some armor here on the palm and a little bit of soft armor here on the knuckle. It has Velcro straps on the front and the back of the glove for a nice tight fit. And one of the reasons why I bought the gloves is because I needed something that had the screen-friendly material on the fingertips. So there is a capacitive fabric here on the thumb and first finger, and that is good for, of course, if you have to do something quick with your phone, you don't have to take the gloves off. And the other reason that I bought these was that they were advertised as a more colder weather glove. So that's a quick overview of the gloves themselves. FirstGear Navigator Gloves, my impression. I'll keep it real short and sweet with this. No, I don't like them. They are not what I wanted. They did not fit well. The capacitive fabric on the fingertips really didn't work well at all. The whole point of having that is to quickly be able to touch something on a phone screen and be able to move on and not have to work. And to get it to actually work, to find the capacitive part on the fingertips took a lot of fiddling, which really just kind of kills the whole concept. I can't really speak to whether or not that they were warm or cold, because when it was cold, I was wearing a glove liner underneath them for good measure. So I can't really evaluate that very well. Didn't have a fall where I used the armor, so I can't really evaluate that. But I was not happy at all with the fit. I'm tough to fit in gloves. I have medium-sized palms and short fingers, so a medium-sized glove will fit great through the palm, but then there'll be a whole bunch of fingertip that I'm not occupying, which, it's not too fair to beat these gloves up about that. But the fingers were definitely too long. I pulled them as tight as I could, but what happens fairly quickly is, with all the extra material, it kind of bunches up as you are in a riding position with your hands around the grips. So that gets uncomfortable pretty quick. So wasn't crazy about the fit. The whole reason for having them really was the capacitive fabric that barely worked. So I cannot recommend these, and honestly, I will probably sell these in the spring. I'm sure they'll fit somebody a lot better, but I've got a couple of other pairs of riding gloves that fit far better. They just don't have the capacitive fabric at the fingertips, so I'll just have to deal with that. But thumbs down on the FirstGear Navigators. Let's look at the specs real quick for the Revit Helium glove liners or undergloves. At the moment, they're $20.99 at Revzilla. They're made of a nylon wicking material to help keep your fingers warm. And beyond that, well, they're undergloves. They go under your main gloves and help keep your fingers warm. Let's take a quick look at the Revit Helium glove liners. Not much to see here. They're stretchable, thin thermal material. They are pretty comfortable. They do well under gloves, which of course is their purpose. So not much to see here, just a basic glove liner to try to give you a little bit of extra warmth underneath your gloves. My impressions, the Revit Helium glove liners. Overall impression is positive. There's some ups and there's some downs, but overall I will give them a thumbs up. So it is a nice, I don't know if it is a synthetic material or if it is a wool material, but they breathe nicely, they insulate nicely. They're pretty thin, so they fit under a glove pretty well. When I was riding on cold days, these did make some difference versus just wearing a glove without the liners. I never really got cold either way, but my hands were a little bit warmer, a little bit more comfortable when I was wearing the glove. A couple nits to pick. Oddly enough, it looks like they have the little capacitive fabric here on the thumb and forefinger. It doesn't work. I have absolutely no idea why that's there. It just simply doesn't work on screen. So that's weird, and then the other thing is that since it's a pretty fine knit material, if it ever comes in contact with Velcro, which it will pretty much every time you take them on, or take them off and put them on, because most gloves are going to have, wrist straps that are Velcro. Pretty much any time they come in contact with Velcro, you're going to get picks. You're going to get picks in the material, which pretty minor nitpick because they're liners. No one's ever going to see them but you. I suppose after a while you could have a situation where the pick actually turns into a tear in the material, but I don't really don't have enough experience with them to say whether or not that's going to happen. But they're comfy, they breathe, they keep you warm, so I will give them a thumbs up with the few little caveats that I mentioned. All right, let's wrap this up. First, we've got a thumbs down for the FirstGear Navigator gloves. Really kind of disappointing, but they are a low price point, so I suppose you get what you pay for. And as I mentioned, I'm kind of a hard use case for gloves, so thumbs down on those. For the Revit Helium undergloves or glove liners, that's a thumbs up. Nice piece, did exactly what they were supposed to do. They were comfortable, and I would definitely recommend them. So thanks for watching Dread, and I hope to see you again soon.